I'm not anything except the sum of my influences. And I started playing music and writing my own things. Until now, it has changed dramatically. Like, 180 wouldn't be a good enough number for me to tell you. It's more like 7 billion. Like, I've done so many turns, you know, things continuously are changing and continue to change and will continue changing from now until forever just based on what I hear. But I think the most important thing is keeping your core high. My name is Avery. So I guess I sort of go through like these phases where I'm just studying a particular artist for an extended period of time. So I've done like Amy Winehouse, Regina Spektor. I was like obsessed with Kings of Leon for a long time. Most recently, Frank Ocean has been like a lot on my mind. The works that I've been writing, there are a lot of nods to Frank Ocean and his album. Picking everything apart, just when you hear an album, I've been listening to Blonde for about a year, right? And every time that I hear it, I hear something different in it. And it's getting used to the first sound that you hear so that that sound is on the back burner and then hearing what's underneath that sound. And that's something that's really been part of the process, just picking everything apart, because once you get used to the first layer, you can move it aside in your mind and listen to the next layer and what's the layer under that all the way to the bottom. So it's the same thing lyrically. If I'm listening to what he's saying, I can listen to the most obvious things that he's saying, the most obvious statements that he's making, and then as soon as I get used to those, I can lift them off, pick them apart, and then go deeper and deeper into the meaning, and then that in turn, I think, makes me better at what I do, or at least I hope it is, because I spend an awful lot of time doing it. My grandma is the light of my life. She has indirectly influenced the music just by making me the person that I am. So anybody who knows me for more than 5 minutes, like, you can pretty much catch my vibe. I'm like a pretty open book. It's not hard to read me. I grew up with her always telling me, you know, just be as good as you can, and that doesn't mean like be the best, that doesn't mean be the top of your class, it just means be as good as you can, as kind as you can, as open as you can, as understanding as you can. Be good to people, be good to your friends, don't lie, don't bullshit. So the same thing goes into my music. Everything that I'm writing is real. It's not, nothing is fake, nothing is made up, nothing is, you know, I don't sit in my bed like, oh, I should write a song about this. Like, no, it's real shit that's happening to me, and then I sit and bleed over it, and then it gets into a song, and then hopefully somebody else hears it and is like, wow, I no longer feel like I'm by myself because this is now on a record. My brother and my sister are 7 and 8 years older than me. So it's a pretty big gap, and I say constantly how they've been my parents for a long time, and it's really fun and cool to have young parents because they understand you better and they were just there. You ask me what's important to me, it's like my brother and my sister, like them above everything else. But it's also like weird, like, to have your sibling like reprimand you and be like, oh, like, you have to do this and you have to do that, and like especially my sister has always held me up to a higher standard than anybody else. And I remember I was like in high school being a brat or something, and I was like, why do you get so mad at me? Because like I'm doing okay, I'm just not doing like amazing, like, but I'm doing okay. And she's like, you have to understand that, like, I hold you up to a different standard. Like, you need to understand that you have to reach the higher standard because I don't expect anything less of you or from you, and that changes your mindset. So just through that, it started helping me hold myself to a higher standard. When you have people around you that are holding you to a higher standard and expecting more of you, then it makes you expect more from yourself, which has made me better, makes you want to be better. Watch you grow like the mountain ranges, keeping tabs on my time and patience. Your magic was more than I'm used to. I'm feeling good as me, missing glitter with you. don't know if you've ever seen Chef's Table. It's a Netflix original series about like gourmet chefs. And like the first episode, I remember like Massimo, right? This Italian chef is like, he's explaining like this one dish, like how he came up with it, and he's like, one day we were all out of like lemon tarts or something, and this guy was making the last one and he dropped it and it just splattered all over the place, and he made it into a piece that was supposed to be broken, that was supposed to look like that was supposed to look splattered, and called it I Dropped the Last Lemon Tart. That is, you know, like mind-blowing to me. Like, of course that makes me feel feelings. It makes me feel things like, wow, like you can relate that back to anything in your life. Like, sometimes shit happens, yeah, sometimes shit breaks, and like, sometimes you gotta rock it out and pretend that it was supposed to be broken. That's crazy, but yeah, like, I guess that's the least obvious medium that has inspired me to like do anything. What's the dream? The literal dream that I had like 3 weeks ago was that me and Frank Ocean were standing on the Panorama stage that I went to go see him at over the summer, and we were just having a chat. I was just talking to him. I was like, hey, I actually wrote you this really long letter and sent it to you through Tumblr, and like, I don't know if you remember, but you know, it was like really sappy, it was about your album and blah blah blah, and he was like, yeah, I remember that. And I'm like, you read it? And he's like, yeah, just didn't have time to answer, you know? And yeah, that's the dream. I mean, like, I want to be able to work with whoever I want to work with. I want to be able to do whatever I want to do, and I want to be able to just wake up and be happy when I go to work and be happy when I come home, and that's success to me, is just looking forward to going to work, looking forward to coming home. Yeah.